other mic on. Hey Nisha, can you grab my other? Can you grab the counter or something like that? All right. Well, until I get the mic, I'll live stream without it. I don't know how many people are going to hop on here, but I just wanted to come on and talk for a minute about the craziness that went down today. What's up, Coulter? So this will end up becoming a video after it's a live stream, just like all my other ones do. What's up, Craig? I am going to talk about the craziness of the heat exhaustion thing that happened today. If y'all didn't get to watch the end of the live stream where I like collapsed in my kitchen and my wife had to spring to action and get me to come back to and all of that stuff. That was definitely a scary event. Yeah. So if you watched the last like 2 or 3 minutes of the live stream that went out today, yeah, you'll see or you'll hear all of the craziness because I had my lapel mic. So I don't have it on right now because the bottom part that plugs into the phone is inside the house and Nisha is grabbing it. So I had my mic on me so you can hear all the stuff that happened in the house. I got way overheated and I could feel some of the stuff like coming up a little bit, like as I'm forging for that last like maybe 20 minutes, you could hear me over and over and over again going, man, I got to get in front of the fan. I had to go inside and cool down by the AC. So in between heats of me forging, I'm just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I'm going to talk about the stuff that led up to it so that people kind of understand what they shouldn't be doing. So this live stream is going to be kind of explaining the decisions that I made that led to this happening. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Elbeck. Typically whenever I start my live stream, I do a few things like I make sure that if I'm going to be out here forging and it's going to be super hot, I think about, okay, I got to make sure I eat something before I go out there and forge. So I got to make sure I have breakfast, make sure that's part of the thing that happens. And then I got to make sure I'm hydrated, plenty of water, plenty of fluids, all of that stuff. And that's only one part of this. Like I said, that piece might be like on the counter or by the trash can or in the bathroom. It could be all kinds of places. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to be walking around a whole bunch. What's up, Duck? So the decisions that were made that were not awesome. For one, I didn't eat breakfast. Two, I didn't have the right fluids in me, electrolytes and stuff like that. I had things like a little bit of water, soda, stuff like that. Not smart for how hot it was. But the things that I did in the shop wrong was I was so worried about the phone overheating that my fan that normally circulates the air, that gets the hot air out, I didn't have it focused on that. I had it focused on cooling the phone down. So it was pushing the hot air back at me. And so all the hot air that collects up in this corner right here, because if you don't know how the shop is built, this shop runs into the roof. So y'all are inside the 12 by 12. The wall goes up, it goes back, because that's the shape of the old roof of the 12 by 12. The roof of this shop runs into that roof. So I have this like nook where all the hot air goes to, and that's why the phone overheats, because it wants to go to that spot. Well, my fan normally pushes the cool air around and gets that cool air on me. No, it was blowing the hot air back at my face because I had it blowing up towards the phone. So it's blowing all this hot air back at me, and it's getting trapped right here. Not a good idea, but because I was prioritizing the phone not overheating, blowing hot air back at myself. I had my brother and my nephews here. Typically, the way the airflow goes, the air gets pumped out of my big doorway over here. Y'all look, I have chairs right there. So my nephews and my brother and all that, they were parked. Thank you, Pawn Shop. So they were parked right here. So the air wasn't free flowing out there. I had basically a wall built right here. So all that hot air is just staying in the shop. And I'm forging an integral bolster full time, which takes a lot of work from round bar. And on top of that, instead of using my small forge that was made to be used in the shop like this, I was using my big forge. Typically, whenever I'm using that big forge, I used to roll it out into the open area, my pad, during the summer, so all that hot air would release out there. This forge pumps a ton of heat inside the shop. It gets the forge welding temps and all that. Even whenever, like whenever I'm typically using it for small projects, I have half the forge blocked off so that I'm only using one burner. But because I had the one burner, I have the whole forge unblocked right now. So that forge is pumping full blown all the heat out here. So it was just extra hot forge, pumping all the hot air out. The fan blowing the hot air back on me instead of the cool air. A mini wall on this side, so all that air was just staying in here. And I hadn't eaten. I wasn't full of fluids and liquids and stuff like that. So there was just lots of things that did not go great. What temp was your thermometer reading? So
I know it was 100 degrees outside with a real feel of 100. It's a little humid, so we had like real feel temps of like 102 at that time. It's gotten hotter since then.
Yeah. And the internal temp of the shop was probably close to about 125 degrees. And it's different because whenever you're right here, and I was doing a lot of forging right here, this was the hottest spot of the shop. My nephew and them, they were at the entrance to the shop right here. Whenever Nisha comes in, she typically comes in for a few smaller periods of time. They were just sitting here, and it got unbearable for them, and they weren't doing anything. They were just existing over here in a chair. And they had to go out to under my trees and cool off under there. So whenever you're in this spot right here, it's probably about 125 degrees. And even with water on me, the water was drying like that. I had a wet cloth behind my phone. I had to re-wet it 3 times. It was so hot, it was just dry. And typically, I wet it once. That's the only time it's wet the entire time I'm filming a live stream. 2.5 hours. And it was just...
Who's on right now that was on during the live stream?
Duck and a few people.
I was like, I don't know, because...
It was not smart of me to do what I was doing. And, the hard part is whenever you are trying to teach safety and stuff like that, whenever you're doing this, and I don't know how many times I talked about staying hydrated during that live stream and staying cool during the live stream. I know I said it a bunch because I kept having to say I was staying cool and trying to keep cool and hugging the fan and all of that stuff. It was not right. I should have stopped forging, but I'm very stubborn. Whenever I start a thing, man, it bothers me to not finish it. Like right now, it's taken everything in my power not to forge to finish that damn knife. But I know that I can't do it. especially today. If I get hot again right now, I'll probably just collapse. This is where we're at on this, and this is the reason why I want to finish it so bad, because I want to just finish that blade right there, and we're already at this point. All we got to do is do work to finalize forging the blade and a little bit of work on that handle, and of course straighten it out and everything, but it's still roughly centered. Everything's looking good. The handle is looking good, but it's just, if I would have stopped after I got the handle done, I would have probably been fine. But I was like, no, I'm so close. I need like another 30 minutes and we'll have a knife. But no, you gotta stop, man. You gotta stop. But correct, Jeff. Time to cold forge practice. I know that I would do that on that piece, but that piece is 5160 with a higher than normal chromium and vanadium. So that thing is not cold forging. I would be hammering on that for a while. Now, if I'm wanting to do like slight texturing and stuff like that with the ball peen cold, I could do that. But that thing has to be hot in order to move it. It's not going anywhere unless I got it hot. But we were still able to do that much to that knife. If you remember, again, this started off as a coil spring, and we were able to, at least get the tang where we wanted it, blade preformed, and all that. So it's one of those deals where you just got to be careful, man. Thank you, Jeff.
You gotta be careful, and then you gotta not annoy your wife whenever you're cutting the thing.
So yeah, if y'all listen to it. So whenever it happened, whenever I collapsed, I'm in there in front of the AC, and I didn't even know I was talking to my wife. I didn't know she was in the room. I was in front of the AC, and in my head, I had already laid down. So whenever I'm standing up and then I'm laying down, and she's going, Eric, Eric, Eric. I only hear technically like two of the Erics. And you hear me go, what? Like I was annoyed that she woke me up from a nap. Or like, why are you waking me up? I was laying down on the floor. It's not a big deal. I didn't hear any of the things that happened whenever I was like, maybe it's time to pause or something like that. Or maybe it's time to stop a little bit. And then you hear Nisha say, Eric, and I just go limp and collapse to the ground. And I'm going to say, who, what, where? As I guess either I'm on the ground or in the process of that, and then I start shaking on the ground, and that's when she starts saying, Eric, 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 and then I come to and instantly throw up. And you can hear all of it because my mic is like right on me. And I didn't realize that it had that much range, but so you hear the whole entire process happen until she comes out here and she ends the live stream. I didn't know all that stuff had happened. I just remember waking up going, I was supposed to be down here. Not that I collapsed. It was not super awesome. Again, it was the cascade of events that happened, not eating, not drinking enough water, or not even just water, but having the electrolytes in my system. Because I didn't eat, I didn't have any fuel for my body to burn, and no food. So my body was burning itself. And whenever you do that, it runs even hotter because all you're doing is burning fat content and the salt that's in your body and all of that. That is all off your body. So I didn't have food in my stomach to burn. I didn't have enough electrolytes in my body for that process. I had basically turned my whole entire shop into an oven because of focusing on my phone being cool and having my nephew and them watch. So, you got to learn from your mistakes. Now I know during this heat what I got to do is I've got to have the forge, especially if I'm going to use this one. Now, I'm building another small forge. The small forge that I had is going to my nephew. He's taking that this weekend, and he's going back home with it so that he can actually learn to blacksmith. So I'm going to build another small forge that doesn't pump out near as much heat like that one does. It gets hot, but it doesn't shove the heat out because it's got multiple burners. So build another small forge. Forge is going to be outside of the shop, so it's not developing heat in here. We're going to focus on airflow and trying to get all the heat out of here. I think that I'm going to try and put a vent or something up in this area where it catches all that heat so it could get the air out. They make them, they're not expensive, they're not hard to install. They're like $50, and you can install it without having to redo your roof. It's the same thing that you would put in an attic, but they actually have ones that have better fans that you can turn on, and it will suck the hot air out. There's just things that I got to think through. Also, I am not a young person. I'm not old, but I am not a young person. So I'm not a 20-year-old or anything like that, you know. I'm a dad that is, full-blown adult ages and whatnot, and you just gotta be careful, and you gotta not pass out and take care of yourself.
It's getting hot.
Yeah, I'm already getting hot again and starting to sweat, but you know how it goes. Soak your shirt. So I had a wet towel around my neck, and it just wasn't enough because of all the things that led up to that point. I was already toasted. I was already hot. I was already burning up before I passed out, and it didn't matter what I did to myself at that point. I could have jumped in the pool. That would have probably been the only thing that would have done it, but that might have shocked my body. I don't know. Because what did I do after I laid there for a little bit? We got into the bath and pulled my whole body off, but with warm water, and slowly cooled myself, and that worked out. And it's scary because I had no clue that any of it had happened, and luckily I was in the house, because if I would have collapsed right here, there is a sharp horn right here, there's a sharp horn right there, there is edges of everything that I could have hit on the way down, and it would have happened in front of my nephews, which would have absolutely terrified them, and Nisha wouldn't have been right there in front of me to help me instantly. That's what helped, because she was right there, and she handled it, and I'm alive and safe, and everything's good. But it was scary. the last time I had something like that happen was whenever this hatchet that's on the wall, it's technically behind this, the hatchet that's on the wall right here, whenever that flung down to the ground, came back and took out my ankle, and split open my ankle, and I was bleeding out and passed out in the car on the way to the emergency room. That's the last time that I was at that point, and it was wild. But you got to be careful, and you got to focus on airflow and stuff like that. Get one of those posable standing fans, phone stand. Yeah. That's actually smart. What I also need to do is, I have my TV and tablet and everything like that. If I could have that anywhere to where I can actually read the chats real easily. I'm sure it makes a huge difference. It really does. Best thing to do: sit down, take a break as soon as you feel off. Hypoglycemia, which is the same symptoms, but yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm very happy that Nisha was with me, Steve. She was definitely a game changer on this. And the thing that's going to be rough, okay, I really have to figure out the heat process on this Now, of course, I'm going to cut some of this steel off, but I'm not stock removing this whole entire thing here. Okay, so whenever I go to forge, now there will be the main handle area is going to be stock removal because I've got to be very precise with that. But the blade itself, I've got to forge this 3-inch wide by 1/4-inch thick freaking bar of 80 CRV2 down to that blade profile. So I'm gonna have to like do that starting at like 6 a.m., which sucks here because at 6 a.m. it's still like 85 degrees. Whenever I leave at 4 in the morning to go to work, it's already hot. The sun is like messing with the camera there. Sticker phone. Yeah, that's what I was using today was that mic. Gotta have it like that. But I had the fan pointed at the phone. The issue with that was it's my fan that circulates the air, and it wasn't circulating the air. It was just blowing hot air at me. Collapsing and puking, yep, which is what happened. Yeah, it's rough. Okay, so my goal is to figure out how to get the best airflow in here. Whether I need to mess with my doors and windows or whatever. Plus, got to put that vent up top there. You know, I've got to do some stuff because I still have 2 months of this, and I've got a lot of work to do to prep for the shows that are coming up. There's a lot that's happening. I've got a ton of knives that I've got to finish. Luckily, they're forged already, so it's just a lot of grinding and handle work and stuff like that, which isn't going to be too bad. But I mean, I'm sitting on about 35, 40 knives that I've got to wrap up, and it's something else. Mule, one of the ones that I'm working on right now, is the one that I'm sending to you. But it's just, you gotta make sure to take care of yourself. This is a very dangerous job if you're not mindful of what can happen to you. And it got me. Normally I'm way better about this stuff, but I was trying to do too many things at once and screwed myself over. So I'm gonna be mindful of it. What the heck? What are y'all doing with the water? I thought you were watering the lawnmowers for a second there. But yeah, it's just being mindful of your heat and all that stuff. And now I know what I need to make sure and pay attention to before I get out here and start forging. Yeah, I got overheated bad. Very, 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 very bad. Collapsed, flew up a whole bunch. It was not awesome. Luckily, when it comes to the heat stroke stuff, I don't have any like numbness to my body, and I don't have a headache. So that's like part of the other stuff that happens if you pass out, collapse, throw up, and have those other things. You can have brain bleeds, you can have all kinds of stuff. I don't feel like I have those other things, so I think I'm good. But I'm just going to be mindful of it, be careful, not go too crazy at work tomorrow, which my boss will probably love. But it's just got to be careful. Heat stroke is no joke, and I'm going to make sure that I'm doing good moving forward. So like I said, I'm going to buy the stuff to do the vent thing for this. If I do that, I might film that so y'all can actually have a video for that. And then I know that I'm already starting the filming process for the YouTube challenge, and I've got a series that's about to come out for the Two Bastards hammers, where I'm talking about, I'm going to have a video that releases about the rounding hammer, straight peen, cross peen, ball peens, all that type of stuff. I'm going to have videos coming out talking about benefits, uses, what they're used for, all that type of stuff, because I've had people ask me about those things. And so I'm going to have videos that are coming out and everything like that, but you got to be careful. Even just doing that stuff with it being as hot as it is. Yay, Texas! So ridiculous. But yeah, I just wanted y'all to know that I'm okay. I'm safe. Everything's fine, and I'm gonna make sure and not let myself get really hurt or anything like that. So it's good to be standing, because I wasn't for a while there today, and I'm finally at a point where I felt good enough to come out here and shoot this live stream and do this. But yeah, the biggest thing is airflow, eat, drink plenty of fluids, make sure you take care of yourself so that you don't do what I did, you don't collapse and risk having a heat stroke or anything like that. It was sketchy, it was not comfortable, but yeah. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably film a little short of me finishing this right here, and I'll just put it out as a short. But that's what we forged today during the live stream. This is how far we got, and the integral bolster. So integral bolster, full tang, knife that we're doing. Got all the way to this point right here. Still got cleanup to do and everything like that. Still got to finish forging that blade and all of that. But I'll probably film highlight clips of finishing this out so that y'all can actually see how I finished it. And I'll just make sure I do that whenever it's cool and after I get some other stuff done. But yeah, I'll look at getting all that stuff set up and go from there. Let's see here. Most common wind direction, the 2 vents. Yeah, the most common wind direction for my shop is this way. So from back to front, front to back. That's the way all the wind blows, primarily because all the backyards line up going this way. All the houses are on the side and side. So wind doesn't really blow this way because it's a whole bunch of houses. But all the backyards are all lined up in rows. So the wind typically rips straight through my backyard, and I don't have any vents on that side of the building. All the openings are on this side. So whenever I get my airflow, it has to come in one door area and go out the other. So I've got fans set up at the top of this shop in here, down here, plus my fans that are right here, and that pumps the air out there. The biggest thing is getting the air that is getting trapped right here out. Get that out, make sure I don't have this doorway blocked off, and then also build another small forge and keep the forge out there. Whew. And then eventually, I'm in the process of going through and getting that shop insulated, and then I'm gonna put an AC in there and another door right here, so that I can actually shut that off and have that set up for a cool area. That's where I do my leather work. It's where I do some of my, fine work on the knives and stuff like that. It's all in that 12 by 12. So that's going to be insulated and have an AC. So that'll be nice. Torch is open to the west. And it comes from that direction. Yeah, that would actually be like a PC power. That direction. Yeah, I think that's going to be a benefit to me too, having it to where the air gets sucked out. So the way I was originally going to build this was in these top corners of the shop. I have it set up to where there's actual open spaces up there. I was going to put fans on either side there and try and pump the air out that way. But like I said, I'm just going to play it by ear and figure out the best way for these fans. I got to be mindful because whatever I use to suck that out has to be very durable, because we get like golf ball, baseball size hail. And the last thing I need is hail to blow through one of those things and dump rain into the shop. So I just got to make sure that whatever I do is durable. But yeah, so I just wanted to hop out here, talk. I wasn't planning on talking for 30 minutes. But just to let y'all know that I'm good, I'm safe, everything's good. And before I get too hot, because I'm already sweating, I'm going to go ahead, shut the shop down, and call it good. Guys, thank y'all for being there today and watching. And we'll still be live streaming next weekend. We're just going to do it in a safer way. So everything should be good, and we'll go from there. The next thing that we're going to be working on, I've got to forge a bunch of these things. So I forged 3 of them last Friday. These are what I'm calling camp stake flippers. It's not a long stake flipper. So compared to, I think I might have took it inside. Oh, right here. So make it to where I don't have that glare. So normal size stake flipper, this thing. Show you how much shorter it is. So I noticed that what I tend to do is I use this all the way up here whenever I'm flipping things. So I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just made one that was this long to flip stakes and see how I liked it. This right here is the perfect length to just be able to do your thing, flip everything, and it's a twisted rebar, which looks really cool. It puts a real cool pattern on there. So twisted rebar, simple, perfect for your hand. And if you're going camping or something like that, you don't want to bring tongs, you just bring this guy with you. I'm gonna make little pouches for them eventually. Maybe even order little pouches to go in. But this right here, super simple. And you can knock these out. So if you're trying to focus on smithing projects and stuff like that, I did 3 of them in like no time. And I used the power hammer to stretch them out initially, and then went through and hand forged the rest of the way. But you can knock them out quick and easy, and it's just the right size, just to boom, flip, 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 flip. I've already been using one for the last week, and everything's been good. What I do is before I send pretty much any of these out, so of course they got hot wax and all that stuff with beeswax and everything, but I actually cook and I pre-season the tips on all of them. So I get a nice steak or whatever, and I actually pre-season, clean, re-oil, all that stuff, all of them, before I send them out to anybody. But I've got to knock out about another 20 of these. So these right here, I'm trying to decide the price point. I think like $20 to $25 is like a good price point for something like this. It's not too crazy or anything like that, because people have to pay for shipping. At shows where you don't have to pay for shipping, probably 25 on the website, maybe 20. You know, versus one of my longer ones that has like multiple twists and the loop and all that stuff. But I'm figuring at shows, whenever I go to local shows or like the farmers markets or anything like that, these right here are going to be the bread and butter of what I sell at those shows. So whenever I'm going, I want to bring, 25, 30 of these with me, because I'll probably sell all of them at $25, and that's a decent income for a show. So even if you only have, let's say you sell one knife and 20 to 25 of these, you're going to be doing good for the show. You're walking away with money, everything's good, and all that. And how much you start with. So these right here, I start with almost nothing. So I wish that, here. So this forges into this. That bar right there forges into this. This bar is, let's see here. That bar is 7 inches, so I probably started with about 5 about 5 inches. Yeah. That would have been, no, about 5.5 inches is what I started with. And right now these are 8.5 inches long. So 8.5 inch overall length on that. And it started at about 5.5 inches. But yeah, compared to the amount of time that it takes within the forging in the distals to go from, oh, phone's ringing, to go from this to this, because you got to imagine you're more than doubling the length on there. So it's like, but because you forge so much distal tapers throughout it, that it just, you get all that length out of there. And I can draw so much length out of steel that it's ridiculous. But yeah, so that right there, small amounts of rebar, pump them out, knock them out. I'm going to be forging, I don't know how many I'm going to forge on the next live stream. Again, I got to be mindful so I don't overheat again. But I'm figuring so that I can show y'all the twist and do it on the live stream. I might do the power hammer and, you know, get those drawn out, and then we got to work them on the anvil. We just got to be mindful of heat and stuff like that. So hopefully I have that all figured out. Next weekend, it should only be in like the 90s. It's still hot. It's better than 100 and something degrees. So I'll be able to knock those out, and I'll show y'all exactly the size that we start with and how we get it drawn out and get everything set up on them. So just gotta do it. Hell yeah. That would be awesome. I'm getting a Rivers Experience tramp stamp. Pixar, it didn't happen. So I did it before school. I love that.
You might have to get your records.
Yeah, well, yeah, I will get that. My Maker's Mark tattooed on me. I might start with just 6 inches, makes math easy. Yeah, that's true. That will probably make it even once you buy the rebar. Ozzy Hulk and Eric 1 week. Yeah, that would have been bad. I'll tell you right now, man, celebrities that I grew up with are dropping like flies. Now, a lot of them are because they're older, you know, and people only live for so long. And some of these people were so hard on themselves with wrestling and the things that they did when they were younger with drugs and all that stuff and their lifestyles. Like, it was, these people live into their 70s as wild. Even they'll tell you, how the heck did I do that? But for me, you know, I plan on living till I'm about 100. I stay healthy, I do my thing, but you make bad decisions sometimes and you overheat. You just got to make sure you don't do it again, which is what I probably need to stop live streaming now so that I can think about eating food. I've already ate a little bit. I ate some food and I got plenty of fluids, so I'm doing good right now, but I need to probably eat dinner and go inside and chill a bit. What should I do for my first tat? Oh, what I'm doing, my next tattoo is probably my Maker's Mark, but I'm doing a hammer on my hammer hand or my hammer arm, and I'm doing a pair of tongs on my tong hand. So I'm doing a hammer and tongs. I might do a cross peen on this arm, and then do a pair of tongs, like wolf jaw or something like that, on this side right here. And that's the one that I want to do. Some people who are blacksmiths or bladesmiths get their most popular knife tattooed on them. If I did that, it would be the dang the file knife, the heirloom knife. I'm not doing that. But I do want to get the WoW knife, my World of Warcraft knife. I do want to get that tattooed on this.
To get Frank's fat king tattooed on your arm.
Right? Well, it will say whatever tattoo I get will have a 2B on the side of it, like how he has his 2 bastards on here. If I could fit 2 bastards, that would probably be too small. So I think if I do like 2B or something like that, that'd be cool. Or like F/N for Frank and Nita. Might do that. It's F and N Metalworks.
Where's my name?
Okay. Nisha. Like right here on this one. And then saves me. She wouldn't let me put savior on there because she's not that. We know who that person is. And let's see here. You should get a double-bladed dagger for that. Oh,
I should go on your bed.
that would be badass. The double-bladed dagger is.
You should have it. You should have it on your leg.
Yeah.
Have the long part down by your.
Dude. Yeah, that is.
Across your
Talk about. Talk about iconic. Yeah, that is definitely one of those. What's up, dude? Hi.
Forearm.
But yes, thank y'all for being there, listening to all of that. And I'm good. Everything's good. We just need to be better moving forward, and we will. So, thank y'all. We'll be live streaming next weekend. We will. We'll just, I'll be making sure that I'm getting smarter. I got to order some fire brick. Luckily, the small forge takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fire bricks, so that's almost nothing. And it's got about $30 in angle iron on it. So I would make those forges to sell, but I have to sell them for like $300, and I don't know if anybody's buying $300 forges from me. They're bad, but they're amazing little forges, and they work like a son of a gun. They got doors on the front and the back and all of that. One burners, you got a handle on it so you can carry it around. But I don't know if people want to buy $300 forges, but that forge right there has about 6.5 years of my knowledge built into it, and that puppy works. Yeah. What did you see? I got a sword on my forearm. Oh, that would be sick. Whatever you get on your body, either make that thing or have made it. That would be pretty cool too. So I like the one that Dennis Tyrell has on his. He's got one of his Kumai hunters on his forearm, and it looks badass. I didn't say that earlier, I just said it. He's got that on his forearm, and it looks really cool. It was his first and only tattoo. He got it whenever he was like 60, 62. and it's one of his knives.
So, it's too hot.
It is. I'm going to shut down the shop. I'm going to get out of here. We could talk more about that in the Discord, Duck. Maybe when I finish the bachelor sword. Yes, something like that. We'll talk more about it in the Discord, Duck. I'm going to shut down the shop and go inside and cool back down. Get some more complete ones. Yeah, and that's what I would do. It would be complete forges. It wouldn't be like the kits to build it. Maybe I'll think about doing that, because that's something that those forges I can finish in less time than it takes to make a knife for sure. And if I can make sure that the profit's where it needs to be, then maybe I'll do that. The shipping them and them being secure and the people wanting to spend, the probably $80 that it would take to ship it, because I have to put it in a box and build a box for it with like foam and all that stuff. So we'll figure that out. But yes, y'all stay awesome. I'll catch y'all in either the Discord or on one of my shorts or something like that later. Y'all stay awesome. Love y'all. I'll catch you on the next one, okay? Bye, y'all.
Yeah, we gotta find that thing. And then it's
Don't underestimate autistic millennials. Very true.